Dawn breaks over Tennessee's peaceful Shiloh church. Union soldiers sleep soundly in their canvas tents, completely unaware that Confederate forces creep silently through dense morning mist. In mere hours, this quiet sanctuary will become America's bloodiest nightmare. War changes everything. General Ulysses Grant sips his morning coffee aboard his comfortable steamboat, confident his army remains safe from harm. Miles away, 40,000 Confederate soldiers prepare to strike with deadly precision. Sometimes the greatest victories emerge from devastating surprises. Fate moves mysteriously. Private Johnny Clem, just 10 years old, adjusts his oversized blue uniform with trembling hands. He joined to serve his beloved country, carrying a small drum instead of a heavy rifle. Today will teach him that heroism comes in the smallest packages. Children witness horrors. Confederate General Albert Sidney Johnston surveys his assembled troops with growing anxiety. This single battle could determine whether the Confederacy survives or crumbles into dust. He knows that glory and death often walk hand in hand on bloody battlefields. Leaders sacrifice everything. The first gunshot shatters morning silence at 15 minutes after 5. Union soldiers stumble from their tents, confused and desperately unprepared. Coffee cups drop. Breakfast burns forgotten. In seconds, peaceful camp life transforms into desperate survival. Combat announces itself without ceremony or warning. You can almost smell the acrid gunpowder, hear the terrified screams echoing through Tennessee's dense woods. Imagine waking to enemy rifles pointed directly at your tent. Your morning coffee becomes your last peaceful moment of innocence. History pivots on such terrifying awakenings. Confederate soldiers surge forward like a destructive human tsunami, completely overwhelming scattered Union positions. Their spine-chilling rebel yell pierces the air, a sound specifically designed to freeze enemy blood. Fear becomes a weapon as deadly as any sharpened bullet. Psychological tactics predate modern techniques. Colonel Everett Peabody receives urgent reports of enemy movement, but his arrogant superiors dismiss his growing concerns. Hours later, his prophetic warning proves tragically correct. Sometimes wisdom comes from those who listen carefully to whispers others ignore completely. Intuition saves precious lives. The infamous Hornet's Nest becomes a hellish killing field where Union soldiers make their final desperate stand. They know retreat means certain death, advance means death. Sometimes courage means choosing how to die rather than how to live with honor. Think about holding your ground while close friends fall around you like autumn leaves. Every heartbeat could be your last breath. Every breath tastes of smoke and blood. This is what ordinary men faced at Shiloh's hell. Heroism grows from pure terror. General William Tecumseh Sherman fights despite 3 painful wounds, his hand bleeding profusely as he grips his sword tightly. Pain becomes secondary when survival depends on strong leadership. Physical wounds heal. The memory of abandoning your men never does heal completely. Confederate General Pierre Beauregard believes victory is within his grasp. Union forces retreat toward the Tennessee River, seemingly beaten and broken. But sometimes tactical withdrawal masks strategic positioning brilliantly. Apparent defeat conceals tomorrow's triumph, waiting in thick river mist. As afternoon shadows lengthen dramatically, General Johnston bleeds to death from a simple leg wound. His personal physician tends to Union prisoners instead of treating his commander properly. Irony: compassion kills the compassionate leader. Leadership dies while mercy lives on. The mighty Tennessee River runs red with blood from both opposing armies. Wounded soldiers crawl to water's edge, Confederate and Union alike, united by thirst and unbearable pain. Rivers don't choose sides. They simply flow, carrying away combat's terrible consequences forever. Night falls on a battlefield littered with 23,000 casualties from both sides. Survivors huddle in cold rain, listening to wounded men crying for water, for mothers, for death's merciful release. Darkness amplifies suffering beyond imagination's reach or comprehension. A haunting question torments survivors. What transforms gentle farmers into efficient killers? Combat peels back civilization's veneer, exposing humanity's dual nature. Each person harbors capacity for both ultimate sacrifice and cruelty. Angels and demons coexist within every human soul. Young Confederate soldier Sam Watkins writes in his diary, "The dead lay so thick you could walk across them without touching ground." His words capture horror that cold statistics cannot convey. Memory preserves what numbers forget about combat's human cost. General Grant refuses to retreat despite his army's severe battering throughout the day. He understands that tomorrow's reinforcements could transform today's disaster into victory. Sometimes the difference between triumph and failure is one more day of endurance. Persistence conquers desperation. Confederate forces celebrate their apparent victory, believing they've won the battle decisively. But celebration blinds them to Union reinforcements crossing the river throughout the night. Victory celebrations often precede devastating defeats. Premature joy breeds ultimate sorrow and regret. Do you understand what it means to lose half your army in 2 days? Every empty tent represents a son who won't return home alive. Every silent campfire marks a family's destroyed future forever. Combat's mathematics calculate in broken hearts. Dawn of April 7th brings Union reinforcements, 25,000 fresh troops under General Don Carlos Buell's command. Yesterday's beaten army becomes today's avenging force. Reinforcements transform defeat into victory, despair into hope. Time changes everything in combat's cruel calculations. The battle's second day reverses everything completely. Confederate forces, exhausted from yesterday's fighting, face fresh Union soldiers hungry for vengeance. Energy becomes more valuable than ammunition. Rest determines who lives and who dies in modern conflict's brutal mathematics. Captain Jesse Appler, who warned of Confederate approach, dies in the fighting he predicted would come. Prophets rarely live to see their warnings proven correct. Sometimes knowledge becomes a burden too heavy for one person to carry alone through life. Confederate retreat begins as Union forces reclaim lost ground with renewed vigor. Yesterday's victors become today's refugees, streaming south toward Corinth. Success and failure often switch places overnight. Fortune's wheel turns constantly, crushing everyone beneath its weight. Mothers across America open telegram envelopes with shaking hands. "We regret to inform you." The words blur through tears. 23,000 families discover their worlds have ended forever. Numbers transform into names. Statistics become sons who won't come home for supper. Military strategists later praise Shiloh's tactical brilliance, securing the Tennessee River split Confederate forces permanently. But Sarah Mitchell in Ohio doesn't care about strategy. Her 19-year-old boy lies buried in foreign soil. Victory tastes bitter when seasoned with a mother's tears. General Grant faces criticism for being unprepared, yet emerges with his reputation intact. Sometimes failure teaches more valuable lessons than success ever could. The man who survived Shiloh would later win the conflict. Adversity forges unbreakable steel in human character. Think about the families waiting at home, unaware that their sons lie dead in Tennessee mud. Letters will arrive next week, but hope dies today in silence. Distance cannot protect hearts from combat's cruel reach across continents and time. Shiloh transforms America's understanding of conflict forever. Citizens previously expected brief, glorious campaigns. Now they comprehend the reality: mechanized carnage without mercy or quarter. Innocence perishes alongside soldiers during that terrible April weekend in Tennessee's bloodied forests. Dr. Samuel Preston performs his first battlefield amputation by lamplight, his medical training never covering such horror. Steam-powered locomotives evacuate the wounded. Telegraph operators tap out casualty lists with trembling fingers. Modern machinery serves humanity's most ancient brutality. Private Charles Morton writes his final letter, "Tell mother I died thinking of her apple pie." Personal memories provide final comfort when everything else fails. Love transcends death, pain, and the chaos of battlefields. Home conquers distance through memory's power. Shiloh Church, which gave the battle its name, stands pockmarked by bullet holes. Sacred ground becomes killing ground. Churches should offer sanctuary, not witness slaughter. Combat corrupts everything it touches, even places of worship and peace. The bloody pond earns its name as wounded soldiers crawl to its banks, turning water crimson. Nature becomes complicit in human destruction. Even peaceful ponds cannot escape combat's contamination. Geography remembers violence long after peace returns to the land. You wonder, how do ordinary men commit extraordinary acts of both courage and cruelty? Combat strips away social constraints, revealing humanity's full spectrum. We are capable of both angelic sacrifice and demonic brutality simultaneously within our souls. Confederate General Braxton Bragg retreats with his broken army, knowing opportunity has slipped away forever. Sometimes defeat arrives disguised as victory, and victory wearing defeat's mask. Truth reveals itself only with time's patient passage through history. Union victory at Shiloh opens the path to Vicksburg and Atlanta campaigns. Strategic victories grow from tactical disasters. Grant's near defeat becomes the foundation for ultimate triumph. Every step backward enables greater steps forward later in conflict. Poetic irony emerges from Shiloh's carnage. America discovers how to destroy itself with industrial efficiency. Brothers battle brothers using factory-manufactured weapons. Technology converts personal hatred into mechanized killing. Human progress serves destruction as faithfully as it serves creation. The peach orchard blooms amid the battlefield, pink petals falling on blue and gray corpses alike. Beauty and horror coexist in nature's indifferent embrace. Flowers don't distinguish between uniforms when covering the dead with delicate petals. Newspapers across America struggle to describe Shiloh's magnitude to their readers. How do you explain 23,000 casualties to families eating breakfast in peaceful towns? Language fails when reality exceeds imagination's capacity to comprehend horror. General Johnston's death removes the Confederacy's most capable commander from the field. One bullet changes the conflict's entire trajectory. Individual lives alter national destinies. History pivots on single moments, single wounds, single decisions made under pressure. Think about the silence that followed the gun's final shots. No birds sang. No wind stirred. Even nature held its breath in respect for so much death. The absence of sound becomes more deafening than battle's roar ever was. Burial details work for days, digging mass graves for soldiers whose names they'll never know. Identity disappears in death's democracy. Rich and poor, educated and ignorant, all become anonymous bones beneath Tennessee soil. Democracy achieves perfect equality in death. Union soldiers discover Confederate letters in dead men's pockets, reading about sweethearts and mothers left behind. The enemy becomes human through personal correspondence. Combat requires dehumanization. Peace demands we remember shared humanity beneath different uniforms. Shiloh shatters America's romantic illusions about conflict forever. Citizens expected cavalry charges and heroic speeches. Instead, they witnessed industrial slaughter conducted with factory precision. The nation's childhood innocence bleeds out in Tennessee, mud alongside its brave young soldiers. A philosophical paradox emerges. Victory and defeat become meaningless when measured against human cost. Both armies lose even when one wins. Combat's mathematics never balance when calculated in blood rather than strategic advantage or political gain. Comprehend this truth. Shiloh changed everything permanently. Previously, conflict appeared romantic, heroic, noble. Afterward, Americans understood reality meant industrial butchery without quarter. Dreams died alongside soldiers. Truth emerged from Tennessee forests, gore-soaked and terrible beyond human imagination. Rushing waters sweep away battle's debris, splintered rifles, blood-stained letters, torn flags. The current cleanses landscape but cannot wash memory from survivors' minds. Nature forgives, humans remember. Streams erase evidence while hearts preserve pain for generations yet unborn. Grant's reputation survives Shiloh because he learned its harsh lessons completely. Failure becomes education when properly understood and applied. The general who nearly lost everything at Shiloh later wins everything for the Union. Education requires expensive tuition in blood and sacrifice. Confederate hopes for foreign recognition die at Shiloh's aftermath. European powers expected quick Southern victory, not prolonged slaughter. International support evaporates when causes require too much blood. Global politics abhors extended commitments to uncertainty and endless violence. Families begin the long process of grief throughout the nation. Mothers hang gold stars in windows. Fathers teach younger sons to farm alone. Sisters learn to live without brothers' laughter. Combat's casualties extend far beyond battlefields to every American home. The battle's aftermath reveals conflict's industrial character clearly. Railroads transport wounded. Telegraph lines carry casualty reports. Steam-powered medicine treats unprecedented wounds. Technology serves death as efficiently as it serves life in modern combat's calculations. Private Thomas Kelly fights for the Constitution, but dies calling his brother's name. Grand ideologies motivate governments. Love motivates individuals. Soldiers charge not for abstract principles, but for the comrade beside them. Politics start conflicts. Brotherhood finishes them. Shiloh's veterans never forget the sound of wounded men calling for water through endless night. Memory preserves suffering long after wounds heal completely. Time cannot erase certain sounds, certain sights, certain smells that haunt survivors forever in dreams. The battle creates a new kind of American, one who has seen industrial-scale death and survived. These men will reshape the nation with their harsh knowledge. Combat's graduates carry different lessons than Peace's students ever learn in classrooms. Calculate Shiloh's price: 48 hours purchased with 23,000 human lives. Each minute cost years of future joy. Each hour demanded decades of potential happiness. History's pivotal moments extract humanity's most precious currency, the irreplaceable lives of its children. Union victory opens the Mississippi River Valley to federal control completely. Strategic waterways determine national survival more than politics. Rivers become highways for armies, supply lines for nations. Geography shapes destiny more than politics or ideology combined. While newspapers focus on Virginia's battles, the Mississippi River becomes Union highway to victory. General Halleck understands: control waterways, control the continent. Eastern theaters provide headlines, Western campaigns determine outcomes. Rivers matter more than rhetoric. Shiloh teaches that democracy survives through citizen-soldier sacrifice willingly given. Ordinary men become extraordinary under pressure. Republican government requires Republican virtues from citizens. Freedom costs blood from free citizens willing to pay democracy's ultimate price. A poetic irony: Shiloh means place of peace in Hebrew language. The church chosen for its peaceful associations becomes synonymous with slaughter. Names carry different meanings after history transforms their significance through blood and sacrifice and collective memory. The battle's lessons spread through military academies and staff colleges worldwide. Professional soldiers study Shiloh's tactical innovations carefully. Education grows from catastrophe. Knowledge emerges from chaos. Military science advances through careful analysis of military disasters and their causes. You realize Shiloh represents America's loss of innocence forever. The nation aged decades in 2 April days. Childhood ends when reality destroys cherished illusions completely. Countries mature through painful experience, just like individuals do over time through suffering. Veterans return home changed forever, carrying invisible wounds deeper than visible scars. Families welcome strangers wearing familiar faces home. Combat transforms personalities as dramatically as it transforms landscapes. Inner battles continue long after outer battles end in victory. The Tennessee River flows peacefully again, showing no trace of battle's violence. Nature heals itself with indifferent efficiency. Grass grows over graves. Trees shade former battlefields. Time erases physical evidence while preserving spiritual scars forever in memory. Historians debate Shiloh's significance, but participants never doubt its meaning. Academic analysis cannot capture lived experience completely. Statistics measure magnitude, only memory measures meaning. Personal truth transcends professional interpretation when measuring combat's impact on human souls. Shiloh's legacy. America learned that freedom requires blood payment in installments. Democracy demands sacrifice from every generation willingly. The price of liberty must be paid repeatedly. Some lessons can only be learned through suffering. Truth costs everything we hold dear.